Oh, here we go again, folks, for Good Chat number 148. I had to check. Thanks for bearing with me while I push the buttons and tweak the settings there. Hopefully, I've even managed to turn the microphone on, which would be a really good start. So that makes 5 weeks now in which I've managed to turn the microphone on in a row, which has got to be some kind of record. So g'day Heather, g'day JK, welcome aboard, g'day Noel. Yeah, enjoying a cup of tea in Coffs Harbour. Steve Klink, welcome aboard. David Simmons, how you going? Welcome back, mate. Trevor Fuss, g'day, welcome aboard. You're probably wondering what all this is about. G'day Barossa Bean. Barossa Bean knows what it's about. He's been around. Dan and Amber, welcome aboard. Splash Fam, welcome aboard. Who else we got? Oh, Ree, bro, welcome aboard. Lucky Triple One, he's back. And O'Malley Tours 34 ATG with the passive aggressive full stop sign. Thanks for coming on board. Graham Dory, welcome aboard. Okay, something's going on with my stream tonight. G'day Brian, welcome aboard. G'day Son of Dat. Oh, no. Lyle, welcome aboard. Right, okay. I've been having a lot of trouble with my video settings, so just bear with me a bit. I only just managed to figure out, I think, what was glitching my my settings before. Okay, so I can't do that. Maybe I go just do that, hey? I'm just going to up the kilobit rate and see whether or not that kills it or not. Okay. Yeah, no doubt. Those daring young men in their flying machines. Oh, g'day Vincent. Welcome aboard. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Now you're living in Darwin. Excellent. O'Malley, I'm always trying to work. I'm never really sure whether I'm working or what. Any rate, I have upped the stream rate there, so hopefully that has improved things a bit. Oh, thank you, Heather. Share the love, everybody. Share the love of memberships. You know what I mean? I'm figuring that if I'm earning a bit of money from YouTube ads and stuff, by the way, not from the live streams, I figure, it's nice to reinvest or tithing, as it were, give a bit back to the community. So I really appreciate that, Heather. So we can ride alongside as membership buddies. Yeah, I know, Jeremy, I was totally thrown by this whole glitching thing, which was still happening this week. As per usual, I sit down in front of the computer and, yeah. Oh, g'day Oz Travel Log. Welcome aboard. Now, hopefully the stream has settled down a little bit. Okay, it looks like the video and stuff has settled down now. I could put a bit more gain on the mic, I suppose, or I could probably talk a bit louder, is probably the way to go. You should hear my voice in that Finsbury line video, which I might play later now, but that I've been able to stop things glitching. And you'll hear just how quiet and how different my narrations have come over time. Yeah, what was I going to do? Welcome to everybody. What have you all been up to? Tell me what you've been up to. Yeah, that's okay, Wilbur. Welcome aboard. What have you been up to? This week, has everybody been out making videos or hanging around railway lines? Tell us what you've seen. Tell us what you've come up with. Dan and Amber have been publishing some really, really aesthetic videos on a N scale model railway layout, and I think, I don't know, guys. I think it's a bit of a lesson in sort of what you can do with um, something that's not physically large. You know what I mean? You don't have to travel miles to do it all. And I think you've got a really aesthetic approach to the way you film the model train set. Again, it's not just a model train click clacks past the camera kind of thing. I think there's something going on there, which is really cool. So go check out the Van Couple and their shorts and videos on YouTube. Um, oh, JK's been down at Cowra. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I will be sort of around that way in a few months' time, but probably pedal to the metal, just trying to get to all the locations, and that's what I've been doing this week. Um, yeah, O'Malley, that was really interesting. O'Malley had already seen the link, and I saw a link come across my news feed earlier. It's a really interesting news feed day today for a change. And it was about Loxton Council selling like 30 odd blocks in the Murray Mallee. I was really interested, O'Malley, in that block out at Taldra. Um, so let me see. O'Malley, you can't share links in the chat, right? But you can kind of share links in the chat if you just don't do the HTTPS www kind of thing. People can work this cut and paste these days. So if you can share that link in there, because I'd love to see what some of these vacant lots in Alawoona or these rundown old buildings. Rundown old buildings out at Taldra. I'd love to see what they go for. Yes, happy birthday, Jeremy. Happy 21st again, or 21Q, or whatever it is for you. Appreciate you coming on board in your birthday week. Uh, so, what is Good Chats? I mean, Trevor Fuss has never been here before. What is it? This is where we share what we've been up to. We talk about railway history mainly. I sometimes get on my soapbox and rant and rave about social media and crap like that. Oh, don't go giving it away, JK, that easy. And I do updates on some of the videos I've got up and coming. I do a bit of a look back on videos that I've done in my channel. And you know what's really interesting is over 148 weeks, if you've been around since the beginning, which I reckon JK and Steve have, you've kind of yeah, oh, God, I lost track of what I was saying then, because I looked at the chat again. Just kind of over there on the side. But anyway, that's kind of what Good Chats is about. I do occasionally get carried away and forget what I'm talking about. Sometimes I even turn the mic on. So that's a really good suggestion, Heather. And see, Heather's got that really cool little logo next to her name there now on the chat. That's one of the many benefits of membership of Outdoorstype. Aside from just helping support my work and making me feel a bit more like a professional. Welcome aboard, Luke's Fishing. Thank you for coming on board again, sir. Great to see you. Nice one, Graham. And it's a really great suggestion, right? Now, you raise a point about moderators, Heather. Thankfully, I haven't needed moderators yet. When I get to the point of people actually coming in and spamming my chat, then I will set up some people as moderators. So I have to kind of invite them. But I'll think about doing that if I start getting spammed, is probably the best way to put it. G'day, Business Frog. Welcome aboard. I don't really know about the emojis. I'm still playing around with the emojis, Heather. I think I'd like some slightly better emojis than that, but that is apparently the secret emoji for You Got This. But it doesn't really, ends up just kind of looking like a yellow bird, right? Yeah. So I will be working on that so we can have some far cooler emojis in the chat. Yeah, we're probably a fairly moderate bunch, and I I know how to moderate on the fly as well, but there are times when you do get the odd spam person jumping in from time to time. Um, G'day, Spratty D. Thank you for doing some low key spamming there. And g'day, Kane. Welcome aboard, sir. Thank you for coming on board. Um, so, any rate, there's always an open invite for people to submit stuff to me, either through Outdoorstype on Facebook or carrier pigeon or something. I don't know, work it out. And you can send me suggestions that we can talk about on the chat, or if you've made your own videos that you want us to talk about on the chat, then send me the link and we'll run through it. And I'd love to promote other channels and other people's work, and also have some interesting stuff to talk about from time to time. And there's also an open invite to join me in the, let me get the direction right, the magic window, right? Just let me know in the chat if you want to come on and you want to have a chat about something in the magic window, because that's what Good Chats is. I'll answer that question in a minute, Vincent. This week I've got questions. I always have questions. I always learn more from the audience, and you guys always troubleshoot my stream better than I can. I've been up to some pretty mad research on the New South Wales lines. Coming up, I've been out on a bit of a scouting trip for the Port Dock line, but geez, the weather hasn't been great around Adelaide recently. We might do a look back on the Finsbury line if I can get that video to work this week, which is part of the reason why I was late. And then I'll finish off the slideshow that I had from last week, the last 30 odd images from all of the research that I've done on the Port Dock line. So before I go to the questions, that is a really good question. What is my regular job? Well, over the years, since I've done my media degree and whatnot, I've sort of busted out into a new career, and I've done web design, and I've done social media management, I've done graphic design. So essentially I do, at the moment, my regular job is some very ad hoc graphic design, brochures and stuff like that. I've actually decided at this point in time that where we are as a household, it's best off that I actually just stop applying for jobs. Oh man, I am so sick of LinkedIn. LinkedIn profiles can go to hell. And I am sick to death of applying for roles that I'm incredibly well qualified for in many ways, both in experience, in time, and in qualifications, and not even getting a response. And I know why that is, because I've had the opportunity to hire over the last few years as well. And I'll be honest, applications from people like me don't get far. So I've decided to make YouTube my job. So this channel is essentially what I'm doing now. There's a real opportunity once you get to a point with your YouTube channel that you can double down on it, invest further in it, and watch it grow further. And to be fair, in the last year or so, it doesn't pay much, but it's paid more reliably than a lot of people have. So that's where I'm at the moment, and that's where memberships are becoming important to me, because I've done the work now. My work is recognized, it's out there. I think it's worth something, and YouTube thinks it's worth something as well. And so it's time now to take that to the next level and start thinking about perhaps a membership model that enables me to travel further and wider and continue doing what I'm doing. So that is a really good question as well, Business Frog. I actually only ever intended to do abandoned railway lines, to be honest with you, and then I kind of started running out of abandoned railway lines and the means to get to all of these lines, hence the advertising revenue and the membership, and started doing the historical aspects of current lines as well. And that will expand into the future. One of the things that is on my big list of videos is the development of railways in South Australia. But I think I need to do a fair bit more work on the history before I can start to strike out into something like that. But I agree with you. It would be a great direction to go in, and probably something that would be very popular as well. But I wanted to be in a position where I had some credibility first, because I can't stand AI videos or videos that have just been smashed together with pretty, what's the word for it? Um, Basically stuff all research and knowledge of the subject, and just kind of tacking things together to fit into a title that turns out to be clickbait. Is kind of what I really don't like and what I really never want to put out. So yeah, thanks for all the love on that. The question that I have this week, because I'm starting to look at the Oyen to Pinaroo line, or the old Oyen to Pinaroo line, which now goes to Penitia, and there's some really interesting what's the word for it, townships or ex-townships, and the names out there. Like you've got Tutye is one of them, or I don't know. I mean, maybe the T is silent. It's Tuye or something like that. Let me bring up my map to illustrate my problem. Thanks for that suggestion, Vincent. I have no idea how I'd get to Wardang Island. Last I looked, it was quarantined. It was like a quarantine station thing. So I am going to share my screen now so we can have a look at Google Earth and some of the work that I've been doing. Screen cap. Tut a. So right, okay. So the Y is silent. Far out, man. And what about the other one? Yeah, my other favourite, and we always have a good belly laugh about it every time we drive through Boinker. Although I'm quite sure that the town spelt Boinker is not really pronounced that way. So we're looking at my Google Earth sort of program and my folders and everything I've got here, and I've traced all of the lines that I'm about to cover in October. And one of the reasons I do that is because it forces me to slow down and actually look carefully at all of the locations. So I trace the railway line all the way through, and then I use that path later on in my animations. But what it means is I can go in and have a look very, very carefully at all the locations I'm going through, and it usually throws up some extra questions and stuff like that. G'day, Andy. I'm pretty sure it'd have to be Pawinka. Yeah. People in Murrayville call Pinaroo Penitia West. Yeah, that'd be about right. Walpiup seems pretty easy to pronounce. Underball seems pretty easy. Linga seems pretty easy, although it might be Linger or something. I am, and I think you did a video on that recently, Andy. Welcome aboard. I couldn't actually find anything that would... I'll just turn on the locations here as well, so it's a bit easier to see. We'll go Victorian locations, and I've turned off the roads. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be called Boinker. Some of my other favourite town names are on that trip across to New South Wales as well, like Manangatang. It's not no other word quite like Manangatang. Kawangi, although I don't know whether that would be called Kawangi. It might be Kawanjai or something. Well, O'Malley might know then how to pronounce Boinker. Until told otherwise, I'm just going to pronounce it as Boinker because it's more fun. Tangambalanga. Cow Angie. Thanks, Spratty D. So I had a feeling it would be a rich G like that. So this is one of the locations that I'll be tracing, one of the lines that I'll be tracing, which is now standard gauge, funnily enough. So there's no particular reason why we can't have two standard gauge railways linked up there and another standard gauge line running between Victoria and South Australia, but there you go. Well, see, I must have a New South Wales way of looking at things, right? Because when it comes to Tangambalanga, I can pronounce that, right? That's a pretty common sort of name over there in New South Wales. But when it comes to these Southern Australian and Central Australian names, I'm completely lost. Um, do you have to live in Linga? All right, that's a line that's going to stick in my head. That's for damn sure. All right, well, that is question one. Well, that is the one question that I have this week, and it's I'm going to go with Boinker. I've looked everywhere to find what it's all about, but I can't find what it's all about. At least you've heard them, Spratty D. I don't know anyone from that area who talks the lingo or would ever go to Boinker. Right, now, I'm going to sort out this video now. I'm going to change out the Dorigo video back to the Finsbury video because it's just playing around with stuff. And we're going to play the old Finsbury line video. And the reason I'm playing this one is because I'm doing a lot of research on the port line. And we'll have a look at some of the images in a slideshow after this. Yeah, this was a spur line during wartime, which went from the port line at Woodville over to the Dry Creek to Outer Harbour line. But check out my narration in this one. God, I'm quiet. The Finsbury railway line was a short railway. Actually more of a siding in northwestern Adelaide that was built and used mainly for wartime industrial works in 1940 and 1941. It ran from Woodville through Woodville North, Pennington and Ottaway before joining the Dry Creek to Port Adelaide line. The line had heaps of sidings and 4 state Actil, number 18 Finsbury stores. It closed 1979, mantled in 19. Before we get into it, an aerial photo of the Holden factory ship apparently taken in 1930. The Outer Harbour line crosses. The Henley can be seen diverging from Wood right and crossing the lower right. Holden's station is visible just after the junction. The big open area at the top left is the Cheltenham Racecourse, and you can just see the Finsbury line running between it and the Actil factory at the top of the image. Look closely and you can even see Actil Station. The water tower at the top left of the image is still there today. Let's go see what we can find of the old Finsbury line in 2023. Thanks for letting me know, Van Couple. Yeah, it's weird how it's come good now. So this would be the area where the Finsbury line kind of ran from its own platform and then headed northwest. This area that used to have the massive Actil factory is now all taken up by a brand new suburb which includes the Cheltenham Racecourse called St Clair. But basically it's now all walking paths and brand new houses. The Outer Harbour line is obviously very much more heavy duty than it used to be, but any traces of the old lines have gone. See it glitching out there. We'll stop that. I've completely glitched out the stream there, so no idea what that is about. I had these videos working fine before I started the stream. Yeah. No, I don't know. I really don't know. Let me see. Might have just been the. Okay, it appears I have it back now, and something about the video is just absolutely killing things. Um, so I'm going to give this another test. Might have to do something like just take out the magic window. I think maybe because I'm trying to play too much video at once, and maybe OBS has changed and it's trying to play all of this stuff. I'm going to try another video. So I had this bloody thing working.
Welcome back to Outdoorstype and welcome to Glenray. We're here at the Glenray Mountain Railway to start our explore of the Glenray to Dorrigo railway line. The last train to run along this section of line at least was sometime around 2005. We're going to go exploring the length of this line as it winds its way up the Dorrigo escarpment to Dorrigo on the Dorrigo Plateau. So stick around and enjoy.
Yeah, no, thanks, Trevor. That's really great. Woodville North was where trucks were loaded onto flat tops rail stock. Yeah, cool. And it's now a mosque, I think, that old rail yard. I agree with you, Business Frog. For some reason, YouTube does not like the Finsbury line, because then I play this video of the Dorrigo line and it's fine. I have absolutely no idea why this video is working and Finsbury line video isn't working. Oh well. So this is another video that means a lot to me. Oh, now it's starting to glitch out. I got some work to do on this. I'm gonna have to stop that as well.
Welcome back.
Oh no, and then restart again. Duh, hit the button. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm going to need to spend some more time on that. But that is just how live streaming goes. 1 week you can play 6 videos in a row and nothing goes wrong. And then the next week you can't play anything. And then the week later you can sort of play half the video and let's see how we go next week, you know. I am kind of making my internet do what most people wouldn't try and make it do, right? So... Yeah, that would be interesting, Dave. Wonder if the RAF's got a story to tell about that. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go to the slideshow where we were. And I'm going to open up my little slideshow thingy. And we're going to go to a really large number, because I don't know, it was about 30 images through it last time. So let's go to where we were last week, where I sort of said, I've got 75 photos. So we're just looking at, as we go through Alberton and Croydon, and as we go through the alphabetical order of the images. Yeah, I think going through one of those glitchy phases again, like very in the early days when I was doing the stream, I was doing exactly what I'm doing now, but there'd be times that I'd be 5 minutes into the stream and I'd just have to shut it down because it just wasn't working. Okay. I think we might be getting to the point where I was at before. 36 odd images into it. And so, YouTube's going to be fine with me talking about some still black and white pictures, I hope. So I'll slow it down and I'll restart as we look at this early 1900s drone shot of Port Adelaide. You've got the wool stores there now. You've got what's its name street, and then you can see the wharves there. All of that area in there now, that's where the big police high-rise building is, and a bit further on there where those sawtooth buildings are, that's where you're seeing a lot of the new Port Adelaide buildings going in. And in the far background of this image, one of the reasons I got it, you can see steam coming from a steam train parked at the old Port Dock railway station. So I could kind of zoom into that and maybe get a good image of the old Port Dock railway station. Alberton is being restored, Trevor. Here is Google Earth's view of the location now. These images on their own, unless you get a description with it, pretty sure this is a P-class shunter. There you go. Look at me talking about class shunters. The shunting in Port Adelaide Yard, and you can see the viaduct in the background there. Here is a train on the viaduct. Forgive my lack of details in this live stream, right? It's kind of why I make videos, because I've got all the details stored away somewhere. This is always one of the most interesting things about this Port Dock railway station. So this corner now is where the courthouses are. And you're looking at the front of the old Port Dock station and the big curved roof. Yes, so Mel, you'll be going back and forth now to Osborne and going down Vincent Street. That's it. That's the one that's been extended. And a lot of that area through there has been rebuilt as the railways disappeared. But this is the front of the Port Dock station. And so when they decided to extend the railway line to Outer Harbour and Semaphore, they just kind of cut a hole in the side wall and just sent the railway off onto St. Vincent Street, which was all rather unsatisfactory, given that the trains had to have a man walking in front of them ringing a bell. Here is a train inside the Port Dock station. What a grand old building it was back in the day. This is where we ended up last week. And this is what Port Dock Station looked like before it was finally demolished. And again, this area now is the police station, the courthouses, the car park and the bus interchange. There's some more images of the old Port Dock, hopefully, as we go. Here's a colour image of the old Port Dock. And hopefully I can... I've got a few images of Lipson Street, which is the street on the left there. You should be able to see most of those buildings should probably still be existing. It is Port Adelaide after all. Here is the giant triangle, and on the left there is Gilman. Straight ahead there is probably a train coming in from Adelaide. I'll go back to that one. It's interesting. I've looked in the images for the curved veranda, um, but it's been difficult to find. I'm going to have to find a different image to prove that to myself. Um, Again, more work here in the I don't know, massive sort of triangle and yards coming into Port Dock. I guess this is about the what's the word for it? When the yards were basically being dismantled. I think Bob Sampson took some of these photos when the National Railway Museum moved down to the area, or was moving down to the area. This is some of the track work coming from Gilman Yards, coming from the east as they all curve into Port Duck Yard. And so if you know the area and you see that massive space down there, that's kind of like a nice big park, but it's probably all still heavily polluted from being a railway line or having so many railway tracks on it. Train escort and bell ringer. Well, you know, could be worse jobs, I suppose. More images, sort of evocative of Gilman and all those yards there. Obviously, as things started to wear out and started to disappear. Here's the Stony coming down the Gilman, the Dry Creek line, coming into Gilman by the look of things. I reckon that's Eastern Parade in the background. So here's another one where we're looking at the facade. These do seem out of order, right? But they're in alphabetical order, that's why. Easier for me when I'm making the videos. This is a train coming out the hole in the wall at the side of Port Dock station, which was the original Port Adelaide station. And again, another black and white. This kind of seems like a black and white image that's been touched up. And they did actually, developers did actually do a bit of touching up on images back in the day. And this actually looks like it's had a bit of developers' work, like the image has been altered. And another train popping out the side again. Oh, I've got a lot to choose from here. Mobile security cameras on the Rosewater line near the Oval. Yeah, well, they probably got sick of people nicking shit. Anything that wasn't friggin' nailed down. Although Rosewater appears to be becoming a much nicer area. But yeah, a lot of souvenir hunters have already been right through there. This is the goods shed as it exists at the National Railway Museum today. So this still exists. These outbuildings on the front of it are still there. You can walk up onto that platform and they store some of their works in progress, I guess you could say. Yeah, there's a few telegraph lines in that one. God, there's so many lines. I know, right? But this colour image is going to be really evocative, and you recognise it straight away when you go down to the National Railway Museum. It's probably one of my favourite spots around the Railway Museum because it doesn't have all the polish of the pavilions and whatnot. It's still got the original kind of feel to it, and all the old dusty signs and bits and pieces of old railway stuff that they can't really think of what to do with, which is kind of the aesthetic for my channel. This is another one at Port Dock Station. So, yeah, again, Port Dock Station kind of looked bigger from the outside, but you kind of realised that it was only a couple of tracks, and the rest of it was goods. This is I would have it in the description, but I can't tell you off the top of my head exactly what the class of this one was. But I think it was important for a reason, as being one of the original engines. Good shit again. Sometimes when I get these images, I'm looking at the description only, and then I get the image delivered to me. I'm like, what is that? These are all the signal blokes that used to work down at the Port Dock station. So this was the staff for just operating the signals and stuff. I know, right? I have to look at that. Here's an excellent example because this is the same photo as the one earlier, and you can see what somebody's done to it in terms of colorizing it, and they probably shouldn't have. I recently found my way back into historical aerial imagery. If you look up historical aerial imagery for South Australia you'll come across it, right? And it's done by Geosciences Australia, and they've got some excellent imagery. And so this is an aerial image from 1935 of Port Adelaide. You didn't get many aerial images of anything back in 1935. In fact, that's about when sort of aerial imagery of South Australia started. This is the old Red Hill Bridge. And if you again look back at Grand Junction Road and what it is today compared to what it was then, so it was originally crossed the line with a level crossing that was replaced with this Red Hill Bridge, which was a fairly small bridge compared to the one we have today, and it had a couple of dogleg turns in it as well to get up onto the bridge and down off of the bridge. It didn't just go straight through. You can see the signal cabin hiding underneath the bridge as well. But the question I wanted to ask last week, and we didn't get to Red Hill Bridge, was why is it called the Red Hill Bridge? I don't know why it's called the Red Hill Bridge. So I'd be very interested if anyone has that information. I've looked around, but there's nothing that immediately comes to mind. I might have it somewhere in an obscure reference, but I just haven't had a chance to go like with a fine tooth comb back through everything. So if anyone knows why it's called the Red Hill Bridge, let us know. Red Hill Bridge, there's some cars on it back when they made stuff in Adelaide like cars. Whoop. Torrens Bridge. I'm going to have to do another explainer on the Torrens Bridges because they were very confusing. G'day History Hunter Down Under, welcome aboard. Gosh, I got up to 30 people on the stream at one point, and then my video started glitching out, which is a new thing. So hopefully I can get that back under control for next week. Now we're at West Croydon. We're starting to get late into the alphabet. It is the original Port A cabin. I've got a couple of, A cabin. I've got a good reference for that now, and I've been able to sort of pinpoint all that. Thanks as well to your info, Graham. But I'd be really interested to know why they call it the Red Hill Bridge. That's a fact that you don't see everywhere. Here's a train steaming through West Croydon Station. The new one built behind where Loco was. Yeah, right, okay. Yes, I think you're right, actually. And there is, Graham, is there still a signal cabin or sort of a, communications cabin there? Really dreary looking thing? Is that the same train in a different photo? 718. Yeah, it's probably the same train, mate. Might have even been a suburban train back in the day. Here's all the lovely people at West Croydon celebrating Happy New Year in 1915 or something, which was probably a shit New Year because there was war going on. This is a Historical Society excursion train coming in off the Grange Line branch to Woodville. So what you see there is the Holden's factory in the background, and this is the junction of the Grange and the Port lines, the Port to the right. Yeah, you're right, it does look good. It's a really emblematic photo, that one, of a train going through West Croydon Station, very suburban. This is Woodville a few years back as well, coming from the end of the platform. Yes. Built to the... Yeah. And they've opened the new bridge. I think the new bridge has a name too. There is a plaque on that new bridge. But I'm still trying to work out how they landed on the name Red Hill Bridge. Because, we all know Red Hill in the mid-north up near Crystal Brook and all that, and I was wondering whether or not it had something to do with that, or whether there was some other geological or feature in the area that meant it might be called the Red Hill Bridge, or maybe because it looked like the bridge at Red Hill, or maybe because they reused a bridge from Red Hill. I'm sure there's a story there, but I just can't find any info on it. This image is really interesting because it shows the sort of and I think Spraddy mentioned it as well, this general disregard for railways through the 80s and 90s. So essentially, a lot of the lines, to answer your question, a lot of the lines started shutting down in the 60s, and that's when all of our old mates here were responsible for a lot of these photos, started going out and getting lots of photos. And through the 60s and 70s and 80s, there was basically a complete collapse of branch lines all around Australia. And throughout that time, you look at the state of Woodville Station there, and there was a lot of underinvestment going on. This is another aerial shot of the Holden factory. We've all seen enough of them today. Oh, look, here's an aerial shot from even further away of the factory. That's right, Trevor, the old Woodville. This is Woodville Park, I think, and this was the best photo I could find of it. What's with the two yellow lines on the front of the track? Hang on, I'm just going to go back. Oh, I see what you mean there. Yeah, well, that wouldn't be another kind of line indicator, I would imagine. So the X was some kind of line indicator, or the yellow cross was some kind of line indicator. Does anyone know why it's got the double line on the front of that steam train there? That would have been a excursion special, so it's not a suburban train doing anything. Well, do you know what, Business Frog? That's a whole step closer to understanding why it was called Red Hill, and even just that information there might give me the lead I need to go in and confirm it. So, this would have been, I guess, a symbol for Port Dock, because it would have come up in my searches for Port Dock. This is, what are we, 72 out of 75. I think this is Alberton again, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to jump in and have a look. No, that's Woodville Park in 1936. Yes. So this is Woodville Park back in the day. And then we've got a couple more shots at Woodville Station to finish it up. Oh, look, I've got a number of views of the Holden factory to choose from. It's one of the earliest photos of Woodville Station that I could find. Back probably not long after the siding had been upgraded to the Grange line at the time, or the Henley Beach line. That could well be the case down there, but that could have been the Port Dock line indicator. I love how there's all these other little details in these images that I can't sort of address all of them, but there's like lots of Easter eggs in there. I try and leave these Easter eggs in there too, because I can't approach everything, so I want to have lots of detail in there for people to look at. Yes, and yeah, that I do have a date on the Red Hill Bridge. O'Malley, Coots and Tonus, the transport minister, or taxi cab minister, mentioned that the Rosewater Line project, converting it to parkland, has been put on hold, pending sort of the outcome of this AUKUS project, and they are looking at the possibility of reinstating that Dry Creek to Rosewater Loop, in order to bring people from the northern suburbs, which is booming, to Osborne. So that will be really interesting. And the last one is Woodville, and it is Woodville in 1937. So I do have all the information there eventually. And we'll just zoom right in on that one, yeah, back when that was... You can't even see the Grange line in that photo there. It was kind of a 2-platform station by the look of it there, but yeah. Yeah, I reckon, Graham, somewhere out there someone would have the diagram of all of these things. Right, now what do we do? That was the end of the video. What am I going to talk about now? Let's have a look at the Word document. That's about it. I was going to do a book of the week. We've been going for nearly an hour. Even though I had glitchy videos, we've still managed to go for nearly an hour. I don't have a book of the week this week, but I did want to say, though, that my collection is getting bigger. I probably had 3 or 4 railway books to begin with, and now I've reorganised it, and it goes all the way out to there now. So this obsession with railway history has seen me buying far more books than I probably should, and visiting secondhand bookshops in search of all kinds of interesting and different books. Hopefully next month I might have some time to stop past one of my favourite bookshops at Ulmurra, which is up near Grafton. Which is an absolute treasure trove. So yeah. All right, folks. Now it's time for the That's All, folks. And this time it's for real. I sort of said a year ago, I sort of settled on this maybe being a half-hour live stream. And it just turns out that over the course of the last year or so, I've cultivated this ability to just keep talking for nearly an hour or so. And so that's where we're at. Thanks everyone for coming on board tonight. As I do more and more mad crazy research into these New South Wales lines, you can probably expect to see a bit more in the slideshow about New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria, as I kind of gear up towards that. And I will hopefully be able to finally get out there and film and finish the Outer Harbour Line video using as many of those photos as I can. And the info is really only in... A lot of this info is really only in books. Like Wikipedia is great, like, and online resources are great, but especially when I do scripts or research or whatever, I'm not just going to regurgitate what I found on Wikipedia. Any person with a smartphone can do that, right? And part of the project, one of the pillars of the project, is to bring this information out of books, or bring as much as I can out of books and represent it. And when I say represent it, I mean, like present it again, but in a different way, repackage it and put it together for a contemporary audience that's more about the visual format and the audio format of YouTube. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I'm talking to Brian about the possibility of collaborating next year on the GAN project, if that comes to fruition. And if I hear about this grant, then yeah, we'll absolutely hammer that GAN project and make this much, much bigger than anything I've done before. So folks, that is about it. Things might be a bit shorter over the next couple of weeks as I really lean into prepping and getting ready for this 13-day trip. I think I may have bitten off a bit more than I can chew. And hopefully, maybe I'll have some time to catch up, Noel, when I'm in Coffs. I'll be coming down from casino that morning, and hopefully I'll have a few hours to get some washing done and get my shit together. It's be 13 days on the road non-stop. I'm only spending 2 nights in a row in one place, and that is in Moree. Otherwise, I'm in a different town every night for nearly 2 weeks. That will be interesting. I've said it before, I'll say it one more time. Thank you, everybody, for coming board again for good chats. So that's an interesting one. The rail crossing's being rebuilt. Thank you for that little bit of intel, Trevor. Keep that up your sleeve for next week, mate, and we'll have a chat about it on the stream. So I want to thank everybody for coming on board. I really appreciate it. It's getting to the point now where I'm not going to do the romper room thing. I really appreciate the people who have been with me from the very beginning. You know who you are. And Heather, thank you so much for joining up to be a member of Outdoorstype. Smart as Marbles is also a member of Outdoorstype. Every member will mean a lot to me because it means your ongoing support, which is just way too cool. But nothing will change in the meantime. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I'll just have more means to do it with. So thanks again, everybody. We do this every week at 8:15 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Why Wednesday night? I don't know. But we'll see you then. Cheers.